Hello and welcome to SMPD, the podcast when we look back at the shows that shaped our childhood. I am Christmas Chris Bolton. With me, as always, this time of year, Mary Mark Williams.
Hello.
And yeah, it's Christmas again, listeners. It's time for another Christmas special. We threatened to do this one a few times, but without a theme this year. Or we kind of have a theme this year, as you know, those of you that listen to the other shows will know. We've kind of gone for a traditional kind of Christmas theme, just a traditional good old-fashioned family Christmas,
as evidenced by Christmas with Cookie last week.
Clearly, yes. So we decided, to dive back in the bag of tricks, into Santa's sack, as it were, and pull out the Christmas Raccoons. Now, look, I think we've got to put our cards on the table straight away here. The reason why we thought about doing it a lot and end up not doing it was because we watched Raccoons essentially before we got around to doing the Christmas Raccoons.
Yeah.
Neither of us could really be fucked.
Yeah, and I mean, I've got to be honest. I watched this yesterday afternoon, so I got sent home from work. Apologies to anybody listening who's affected by my dulcet tones. I've got the lurgy. I've been struggling to speak since about Friday, so this could be fun. But I got sent home from work yesterday, so I thought, you know what, I've got a couple of hours to spare. I'll stick my feet up, put the heating on because I was fucking cold, and watch this. And I thought I wanted to watch it before I went back to our episode on the Raccoons, because I didn't want to prejudice it. I knew, obviously, it's very difficult because we do reference it quite a lot.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't really like watching it again. It didn't really take. I'd forgotten quite how angry you were at the Womble comparison until I listened back to it today. But I wanted to watch it.
Was I really angry?
See, oh yeah, you got as soon as we realised that actually it's like a bargain basement Wombles.
Wow.
You kind of went a little bit mad.
I find it hard to believe that I lost my temper, Mark, or got wound up about anything. I'm so placid.
I was shocked. But yeah, so I wanted to watch this before I went back and listened to that episode, and I'm glad I did, because I don't think I could have watched this with any sort of objectivity had I listened to that beforehand.
Yeah, I deliberately didn't listen to our episode. I didn't listen to it before I watched this special, and I haven't listened to it before recording, purposely for that reason, because I just thought if I do that, it's going to colour my opinion, and I need to give this a fair shake, really.
Yeah.
So I didn't. So I came into this fresh. I did obviously have some memory of our opinion of the Raccoons, because, as you say, we talk about it a lot. It's kind of our low benchmark.
Yeah.
It's not the worst thing we've watched, but it's the most disappointing. So we do call back to it quite a lot. So I kind of knew what to expect going into this. I was, however, hoping against hope that I was going to be surprised. This being the special, this being the pilot, essentially.
Yeah, this was the original, wasn't it?
The Raccoons, yeah. And I do have some quite fond memories of this. This is not the earliest Christmas special I can remember watching. That would probably be Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and Frosty the Snowman. They were the first ones I can really remember watching.
Yeah. Mine was He-Man and She-Ra Christmas special.
Yeah, I remember watching Rudolph and Frosty quite a lot, but this was definitely one of the earlier ones. I certainly remember, early Christmas mornings, putting the TV on. Like, we'd get up on Christmas morning, I'd be opening my presents and stuff, and the TV would be on in the background. And early doors, and I could never work this out, but early doors on Christmas morning, like BBC and ITV would play cartoons.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what fucking kid in their right mind is watching cartoons on Christmas morning?
The ones who've got coal and have nothing to play with.
Even then you'd be like pissed off. You wouldn't want to watch Christmas cartoons where everybody's having a jolly Christmas, would you? You'd just be like, fuck this noise. This fucking Christmas thing is shit. So, yeah. And if you did get everything you wanted, then why would you be watching the fucking telly?
Well, they still do it now, though, don't they? It's because it's family entertainment, so they put it on, and like now it's slightly different because there are like 9 fucking million channels and all the rest of it. But like even now, BBC, ITV, Channel 4, they'll put kids stuff on in the mornings. That I think, and again with that, I think that idea that families will put it on in the background while they're doing presents and whatnot, just while they're getting into the day, really. And I think like, I'm fairly sure the last couple of years, like certainly on BBC One, they'll have the news on from like 5 till 7, and then it's straight into fucking family films all day until you get to like fucking Strictly and bollocks like that. because they know it's the only way they can guarantee people are going to leave it on. If they've got the news on where it's all fucking doom and gloom, or they've got whatever they're going to put on, or whatever fucking service they're going to put on. If they have too much of that, people are going to switch off. And obviously, from a broadcasting point of view, you don't want people switching off. Even if it's like my in-laws' house, BBC One is always on the TV in the kitchen. Unless people have gone to bed and they've turned it off, if that TV is on, it's on BBC One from the time it goes on to the time it goes off. Christmas Day is no exception. And they're just kind of relying on people having it in that's a background noise sort of state.
Yeah, I mean that's what it was in our house. Like the TV was permanently on, and we'd get up and yeah, I'd be opening presents. But like even as a young kid, I was just like, why is there cartoons like I don't give a fuck right now, thanks, because I've got toys to play with. However, having said all of that, I do remember those early Christmas mornings. I remember two cartoons specifically being on a lot. One was the Christmas Raccoons.
Yeah.
And the other was Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Yeah.
Now, one of those two would go on to become a huge part of my life and a Christmas tradition and something that I hold very, very dear.
Yeah.
And spoiler alert, listeners, it fucking ain't this one. You may realize that if you've listened to the network for any kind of period of time. But nevertheless, I did have, I don't know if fond memories is the correct term, but I could definitely, there's some association there between this and Christmas morning with me. So I wanted to give it a fresh shake. Almost immediately, I really don't want this to be another kicking. I really don't, especially because it's Christmas.
Yeah.
Like, should be happy, but almost immediately when this started, I was just like, oh no, this is fucking garbage. Oh dear.
Well, I mean, there are some positives to it. I think that
it ended.
Yeah, pretty much. You didn't have the annoying secondary characters who were introduced later.
This is true. However, one thing I do remember being very, very annoyed about in our original Raccoons recording that is definitely present here is Bert the fucking Raccoon, who is just the biggest wanker I think there has ever been in a cartoon. Like, what an utter prick Bert the Raccoon is. Like, he's so unlikable.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that, I mean, we kind of said this last time as well, is that he doesn't add anything.
Nothing.
And you could have quite easily, certainly in this one, in this, I mean, this is what, 24 minutes and change. I think it's not a long, feature. But yeah, you've got Melissa and Ralph straight away, and you could have the story with them. Their home goes missing. They meet the dog, have all the shenanigans and the hijinks, and Bert is nowhere to be seen because he adds fuck all anyway. He doesn't add any character. He doesn't add any flavor. He is just there. He's comic foil, but he's not funny.
No, he's not funny. He's incredibly irritating.
Yeah.
He literally adds nothing. You're right, actually. You could just have Melissa and Ralph. And actually, I think this story works better if you do that. If you just have Melissa and Ralph, this makes much more sense. Because every time Bert opens his fucking mouth or there's a bit of business with Bert, I'm just like, will you please just fuck off?
Yeah.
Like, just go away. You're annoying me. So, I mean, I didn't like that.
I mean, his first introduction is like he saunters in and he's just, they're all putting up the tree and putting up the stockings and all that. And he's like, oh, yeah, I'm tired. I'm going to bed. And just proceeds to fucking pass out on the sofa in the living room while they're working around him. What an absolute cunt nugget.
He's a complete fucking sponger, isn't he?
Yeah.
Like, he's that kind of friend that you have that like is a bit down on their luck. So like you let him crash for a couple of nights.
And then that's when it's like 4 years.
Yeah. And then you're like, look, will you please fuck off or at least pay for some electricity or something?
Yeah.
Like this isn't a fucking DOS house. He's just what a fucking asshole he is. Like, I hate him. But before we even get to him, like as soon as it started, like the theme's okay. It's not great. The theme's okay. It's kind of in keeping with what would become the theme music to the Raccoons later on.
Yeah, and it kind of fits what was around then, because it's 1980, wasn't it? The first one. So I mean, it kind of fits with what you were getting on kids' cartoons then. So these sort of not quite feature length, but sort of not too long to be episodic sort of projects. So it fits. It didn't rub up against me too badly. And I think that was something that I felt all the way through. Was actually the music wasn't necessarily to my taste. It wasn't particularly special, but it didn't feel out of place.
Yes and no. I think it's not particularly to my taste either, but it is clearly um is polished, and it's clearly, particularly if it is your kind of thing, it's clearly very good.
Yeah.
I think, and this is the cynic in me, it feels a little bit like we want to fucking sell a tie-in album, because there are
Yeah.
some very short snippets of songs that
Yes.
exist for no other reason than to go, hey, here's this artist on
Yeah.
the record
It's
label,
almost
and
like you've
here's
got a
this
radio
one.
playing in the background, isn't it?
Yeah, so but whatever, it's fine. I
Yeah.
think the problem with it is that it's not the Raccoons theme, and it's not Run With Us,
Yeah.
which, for all of the faults that we had with the original, the music wasn't one of them.
No, that was one of the
Like,
things we were so very happy
yeah, we
with.
were very positive about. So it did kind of suck not to, at least, when it ended, and I
Yeah.
was just like, I really wanted this fucking thing to end, believe me.
Oh, the
When it
biggest pain in the ass for me was I watched it on the link on YouTube you sent me because I couldn't find it anywhere else, and literally I had an ad break with 12 seconds of fucking footage left.
Oh, fuck that. YouTube Premium all the way.
I'm
Like,
not paying for shit. I don't pay
oh
for
no.
YouTube. I pay for enough shit already.
No, no, look, I was like that for years. I was like, I am not paying for YouTube. YouTube's supposed to be free. I had a 3-month trial of YouTube Premium for free, and I have never ever looked back. Like, it is worth every penny of the
Yeah.
like 12 quid a month that you pay
Yeah.
for it, not to have
I
those
suppose that's the
adverts.
difference. I mean, I'm not one of the, I know you spend it, you do a lot of it. Like I don't sit on YouTube and just click and click and click. I don't do it.
Oh, I do.
I'll watch it if there's something I want to watch or if there's something I want to look for. But I'm not like I know people who will spend their lives on it, and they're literally like, oh, I watched this trailer and then that recommended this and that recommended that and that. Fuck that. If it's something specific, I'll watch it. I haven't got time to sit there and just see what comes up next.
Oh no, I don't do that. Like, I have very specific content creators that I will follow and watch on a weekly basis. Some of their videos can push an hour long. Some, on occasion at a Christmas and stuff like that, can go 80, 90 minutes. I do not want adverts every 10 of those. Like, absolutely not. And especially when the adverts are just randomly interspersed,
Mm,
like you mentioned, with like 12 seconds to go or something.
yeah.
Anyway, we're digressing
So, but
already.
yeah, that really fucked me off. That again, that affected my viewing because I think it's a 24-minute piece, and I
Mhm.
had 3 ad breaks.
Yeah, yeah, that would really fuck me off. So, like, as I was getting towards the
Sorry.
end, as much as I really wanted it to end, I was then like, it's kind of a double kick in the balls,
Yeah, you don't
because
get Run
like
With Us.
it was shit, and then I was like, oh well, at least when it ends, I'll get to listen to Run With Us. That's always a good time.
Yeah, no.
No. Yeah, no thanks, no Run With Us. So yeah, the music's fine, the music's functional. But immediately on it starting, once you get past the theme and you're into it, and you got the little kind of intro with the sheriff and the kids,
Yeah.
just immediately the first thing that struck me was, this looks like dog shit. The
Yeah.
animation is fucking awful. It's
Yes,
terrible.
it is
This is
awful. It's very
so
much
badly
it
animated.
feels like a pilot. It feels like they've gone right. We've got this idea, and we just want to put something out to show people what it could look like.
Mm,
But if we're going to get money for it, it would get a bit more polished and get a bit tidied up. And it's almost as if it's kind of that spec piece. And
yeah,
from the very beginning of the credits, where you get the fucking Christmas trees coming down, they're all glowing from behind, and it just looks really cheap. It looks really poorly done. And then you get into the character design, like you get Ranger Dan and the kids, and it's like, oh, hang on, they're not moving properly.
that's what it was for me. It
It
was
was
the
just really.
animation.
So I mean
Yeah,
that really threw it straight away. And then I I'd like to think this was done intentionally. I'd like to think this is kind of the point. And they keep coming back to it later on, but the whole setup is he gets a phone call that the forest is disappearing. Okay, he's a fucking forest ranger. How has he not noticed that people are chopping the fucking thing down? Like
yeah,
seriously. And when we get into numbers later on, how has he not noticed that like 90% of the fucking thing is gone?
yeah. I mean, he's pretty fucking bad at his job, and
Yeah,
we're talking Ranger Smith territory here.
yeah,
Like, as far as incompetent forest rangers go, he probably takes the biscuit.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, like that animation is dog shit. As soon as it starts, nobody's moving properly, as you say. But the real key to me, like when we and I talk about animation a lot when we look at these shows, I'm aware of that, and I feel like
yeah.
every time like I need to justify myself. I'm sure I don't. I'm sure our listeners are informed enough, especially
Mm,
by now, from listening to us, of what we mean when we say this. But the real key for me with animation is how well it conveys character and
yeah,
emotion. It is, it's the same as the physicality of an actor, essentially.
yeah,
It's split into two. You've got your voice acting, and then the physicality and the emoting. is done through your animation, and there's just none of that here. Everything is so flat. There are times where these characters just corpse. If you really watch this, there are times where there are characters just stood still, like not even blinking. They just stood still.
Yeah, it's like we don't need them to do anything, so we'll
So
just
we
leave.
won't.
We'll just leave it there.
Yeah, it's terrible, and then you immediately drop into this kind of uncanny valley. And I know
Yeah.
this is hand drawn animation. We're not talking about CGI, but it's the same kind of thing. You also see it. It's the difference between good and bad puppetry. When you and we've talked about this before as well. But when you see good puppetry, if you look at the Muppets, for instance, those motherfuckers are never still.
Yeah.
It's why Kermit the Frog swallows.
And like we talked about when we looked at Fraggle Rock as well. Like you have stuff going on in the foreground. You've got your story. I'm ignoring the swallowing comment.
I know. I've realized what I've said as you're talking, and I've just thought, how the hell did you not jump on the fact that I just said that's why Kermit the Frog swallows?
Because I couldn't think of anything to follow it with.
I don't know.
That's the honest answer.
That go.
So in Fraggle Rock, you've got Fraggles in the foreground talking, and we talked about it when we looked at it that there's always something going on in the background, and it might just be somebody moving from left to right, or it might be somebody diving off the fucking rocks, or there's always something going on. It's never important.
No,
it's never distracting, but it feels normal.
Yes,
and it's the same. Like I've just come from the kids' Christmas concert, and they did like it was basically a small scale panto. But you've got kids there who are on stage all the time because you've got like a fucking choir there because there's 90 odd kids across the 3 year groups that are doing it. You haven't got 90 parts in the show, so you stick as many as you can on stage and you just kind of do something. But literally, when they're not doing anything or when they're not talking, they're not involved in the scene, they don't fucking move.
Yeah.
And it's like they've been told, stand still, don't do anything that's going to draw attention to yourself.
It's the dead giveaway. I mean, the kids. I don't want to make fun of any kids, and I certainly haven't seen, obviously that production to be able to comment on it. But it's the dead giveaway for Amdram, isn't it? I always say, like, when you go to see Amdram, one of two things is going to happen, right? You're either going to get people completely corpse because they do not know what to do when they're not playing, or they go the other way and they're fucking hyperactive and their hands are all over the place. They can't sit still. They're wringing their hands. They're tapping their feet.
Yeah.
They just can't be natural.
By the way, listeners, that's why we don't do video anymore, because I do all of that.
And also because my lighting is shit and
I really can't be asked to edit videos.
Yeah, and none of you were watching them anyway, so fuck you. We know you all listen instead of watch. So, and I wouldn't blame you because I wouldn't want to look at our faces every fucking week either. Anyway, by the by, again. So yeah, the animation's fucking dog shit, and it's bad, and the story is bad as well when you're able to watch it and go, why isn't he moving?
Yeah, he's talking on the phone, but his head isn't moving, and his arms aren't moving, and he's just sort of sat in a really unnatural position on this chair, holding a phone to his ear, but doing nothing else apart from the fact his mouth is moving like Jackie fucking Chan.
Yeah, it's just really bad, and like I think if everything else was slick enough, and if the story was interesting enough, you kind of give it a pass, and you might not even notice it because you're paying attention to the story.
Yes,
but it's just there's so little else here that you pick up on stuff like that.
This setup should be interesting, right? Because we start we get the voiceover bit, which again I don't think we necessarily needed it because it didn't add anything. But we launch in with Ranger Dan answers the phone, and then he has this conversation, and there's he doesn't give anything away during the call. It's only when he then hangs up the phone, he tells the kids, by the way, he leaves in a cabin in the woods on their own. Apparently,
yeah.
But he tells them half the forest has disappeared. I've got to go out. I mean, half the fucking forest has disappeared. Where's it gone? Why is it disappeared? What's going on? Now, of course, we know that it's because of deforestation, because clearly we have the baggage of Cyril Sneer, who's going to be up to no fucking good anyway. But there's a little bit of intrigue there. So, right, okay, well, what's going on? Why does he need to go out? What is happening to the forest? But straight away, that it's being chopped down because that's what happens in forests, especially in the 80s. And I think that this is where I think that there's this whole message about the fact that, and I'm giving it possibly more credit than it deserves, but this message of like half the forest has disappeared and no fuckers noticed.
Yeah.
And I'd like to think they're clever enough for that to be the message. Whether they are or not, I don't know.
No. There's an element of this which, as you say, should work, and like as a Christmas special, particularly it's got that, it's got a homely message like that, like we all need to look after each other because the raccoons are homeless and they need somewhere to live now. And then you can tie that into the ecology of it all, and the forest is
Yeah,
being, just razed to the ground by Cyril Sear. Like all the component parts are there. And we said the same thing about the show as well. Like the
yeah,
component parts are there. They just don't seem to pick it up and run with it. And
yeah.
and when
Nothing
they
fits together really,
no, and when they do, like, when we do get Cyril and Cedric later on, who incidentally are the best thing in this by a country mile.
as they
I
were in the
remember them
show.
in, yeah, yeah, exactly. I remember them being the same in the show. I think we were slightly annoyed with them again when we watched it back, but still the best thing in it.
Yeah,
But yeah, when we do get to them, they absolutely batter us over the head. I don't know how many times he has to be told that he's over his quota, and then
yeah,
how many times he has to repeat that he doesn't care. It's
yeah.
like they either just don't understand that we're smart enough to get that on the first time around, or they realize they don't actually have 25 minutes worth of story here,
Well,
so they
that's the
have to
thing,
keep
isn't it? I think
repeating
that's the
things.
problem is they don't have enough to actually go on. So they
No,
just kind of go back to that thing all the time. You're 17.3%, no, 17.3 times over your quota. You're 25 times over your quota. Now, I don't know what his quota was. I don't do maths. But the cunt chopped down 31,000 trees and left 2,000.
yeah.
I'm fairly sure the Canadian government wouldn't have given him that much of a fucking license.
No. Um, but where it really falls down story wise then is even when we get into all that and we get the business later on, obviously the raccoons have lost their home, but the raccoons lose their home because the kids chop their tree down, not Cyril Sneer.
Yeah.
So there's all of this going on at once. But the real issue here is that for this to work and for this to work as a Christmas story, which is
Mm.
what it really wants to be, for it to work
Yeah.
properly, our final kind of goodwill message and our feel good at the end shouldn't come from the fact that the raccoons and the dog and the kids are now all friends. The message needs to come from Cyril Sneer.
And
Like,
they kind of they try to do that, but they just do it all off screen and half-arse it.
yeah, it has to be, it's the Grinch's heart growing three
Yeah.
sizes, it's Scrooge growing a conscience. Like
Yeah. And
that's the transformation that we need.
they kind of do. So we get that. I mean, as they're going through. So I mean, we're jumping around all over the place, but it doesn't really matter because
Yeah,
I
look,
don't
it's
think it.
fine. This isn't better than Mario. It's not like we're following this like a
No.
script. This is our, we just generally talk about things here,
Yeah.
so that's fine. Let's
And I
jump
mean,
wherever we need.
yeah. But so we get the stuff. So we get no Cedric telling him, "Oh, you're over your quota. We've done this. We've done that. We've chopped down this. We still got that much left." And he's in the factory. And again, they missed the trick in as much as they're chopping them down to make timber. Chop them down to sell them as fucking Christmas trees.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I couldn't understand that either. There are so many open goals here,
Yeah.
particularly when it's called the Christmas Raccoons.
Yeah. So
And let's not
Christmas
forget,
should be a thing of it. The only allusion to Christmas is the fact that the kids chop down the tree to make a Christmas tree, and so that's how the raccoons end up homeless. But the whole thing of it is, so we get this idea that actually, yeah, okay, he's cutting it down for timber, and then we get a throwaway thing from Cedric that actually it's more profitable to plant new trees
yeah,
when you chop them down because new trees generate new wood and all the rest of it. So he goes, oh, okay, that's an idea. And then the next thing we know, he's planted saplings.
yeah,
Well, why? When did that happen?
yeah, it doesn't make any sense. And that for a Christmas film, that needs to be a huge message and it needs to work and then it
Yeah,
needs to be, peace and love and all of that. And we need to get
yeah,
all that in the end. And they reach for that with the raccoons then sort of being taken off to get a new home and stuff like
yeah,
that. They reach for it, but it comes from the wrong place. It
yeah,
needs to come from the problem is it's so confused because they've got this business where the raccoons think that they think the kids have cut all the trees down when actually they've only
yeah,
cut theirs down. It all gets too confused. It needs to
yeah,
all center around Cyril Sneer.
yeah,
And it's particularly problematic because it's like the raccoons doesn't exist at this point. So there's absolutely no reason that Cyril Sneer can't just grow a conscience because he's nobody. We haven't got the
yeah,
series yet. He's
yeah. I mean, we're
nobody.
5 years from the series at this point.
Yeah. So there's absolutely no reason that they couldn't make that work. So I couldn't understand that either. For me, the story was just fucking rubbish, frankly. I had absolutely no buying to this story
No, I
whatsoever.
wasn't interested at all.
Couldn't give a flying fuck. Didn't care about any of the characters. There wasn't enough of a message and it wasn't solid
Yeah,
enough. There was no threat really. Like, yeah, they've lost their home and yeah, the forest is being chopped down, but where's the actual threat? Where's the tangible threat to their existence?
Well, this is the thing, because what you need is the trees around them disappearing. So they're trying to save their tree. They're trying to work out what's chopping them down so they can stop it.
Exactly, Mark. That is exactly what it is. That is
Yeah,
exactly what it is. And
because at
then
that
when the
point
kids
you have
come looking for a Christmas tree, then they can befriend the raccoons, because the raccoons
yes,
can jump out and be like, "Whoa, no,
this
back
is
the
our
fuck
house.
off,
Fuck
kids.
off.
This is our tree." Yeah,
Yeah,
you know.
and that's what it needs, because and it just seems really clumsy. So they don't do that, and then the only time, so we get the whole chase scene with the dog. And then we had that misunderstanding of, oh, I didn't drop the tree. We didn't drop the trees. Don't what you're on about. Well, you're chasing. No, you were chasing us. So we get all of that, and they then befriend each other. Then they go off and fight the cocknoses, and so we get that. But then the only illusion we get back to them, to this other part of the story then with the family, is that in, at some point their tree gets knocked over, or their tree gets nudged, and the raccoon stockings fall out. And it's
Yeah,
like, right, okay, so there's a thing, but why does that matter? Because again, the kids haven't met the raccoons. The kids know nothing about the raccoons. So are they just dirty socks that somebody left in a tree? Is that somebody's wank sock where they've gone in and left a nut in a hollow?
I mean, it might be because raccoons will pick any fucking thing up, as we know. But more to the point here. I mean, there are questions that need to be answered here, right? Why do the raccoons have stockings to begin with?
Well, yeah,
So, like, that suggests that the raccoons celebrate Christmas, but
yes,
at no point it's called the Christmas raccoons, and the kids are putting a Christmas tree up.
yeah,
But other than that, at no real point do we have any discussion about what Christmas means in the forest,
yeah,
which again there's an own goal.
yeah,
Like, what is Christmas? And we call it the forest. Like, again, part of the reason why we don't feel any threat is because the only inhabitants of the forest we meet are the
of
three fucking raccoons.
3 raccoons, 2 cocknoses, and 3 humans and a dog.
Well, I mean, the cocknoses don't count because they're cutting it down.
But
The
they're the only people we meet.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is,
Yeah,
like, the forest doesn't feel
yeah, no,
full to begin with, so the threat's not there. Like, if there were three raccoons and a couple of beavers and some
some
birds
deer
and
moving around in the
yeah,
background,
some
shit like that.
porcupines, whatever. I don't know what do they have in Canada? Like beavers, raccoons,
Yeah. Moose,
moose, mooses,
meese.
meese, mices, isn't it?
No,
Am I
the
even
plural.
making sense? What
No,
the
I know what you
fuck
mean.
am
The
I
plural of moose
saying?
is moose, but yeah, I know what you mean. There needs to be there needs to be a broader threat, because it's not just their tree is being chopped down, all the trees are being chopped down. Therefore, it needs
Yes.
to mean something. There needs to be a community that says, look, actually, this is our fucking home. This is no, it's not his or hers. This is where we live. It
Yes.
affects all of us, because then you need to come in together against Cyril Sneer to say, look, that's not what fucking Christmas is, mate.
Yeah, and
It's
and
not
then
making as much money as you can. It's about community and sharing and niceness and all the other bollocks that Christmas is supposed to be about in the woods.
maybe Christmas, they thought, didn't come from a store. Maybe
Maybe.
Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more. Um, but that is it, though, isn't
Yeah.
it? Like, if they were all there and they were all feeling threatened, and Christmas is ruined because they're all homeless,
Yeah.
and then we still get the scene where they all come together as a forest and they have Christmas, and then the
Yes.
ranger and the kids see that, and that's what spurs them on then to be like, all right, we're gonna sort this shit out. And
Yeah.
Cyril sees that and he's like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll make some
Yeah.
more money on the side, but actually here's now a protected part of the forest.
Yeah.
And that's the answer to that, right? He's going to make money because he's planting the saplings. So now you get like the Cyril Sneer protected part of the forest, and he can go and call himself some great environmental champion and probably
Yeah.
get some tax breaks or some shit. I don't know, right? But everyone's a winner, and
Yeah.
the true spirit of Christmas comes through.
Yeah. And that's the thing.
None
And
of it.
I mean, you kind of touched on it there. The whole thing with the raccoons. We see 3 raccoons who are homeless sitting on a mound on a tump of snow, getting cold because it's December and snowing because it's Canada. But yeah, where's everybody else? Though, because he's chopped down 31,800 and something trees.
There's more than three fucking raccoons, right?
If there's only 3 raccoons in 31,800 odd trees, chop the fucking thing down. It doesn't matter. It's not
Yeah.
home to anything.
No, there's only three raccoons. And even then, like, yeah, they're homeless raccoons. They're all wearing fucking clothes. It's
Yeah.
not like,
Not
you know
even
what I
freeze
mean?
to
Like,
death, is it?
yeah, they got woolly jumpers on. I've never seen a fucking raccoon in a woolly jumper in the fucking wild. So what are they
To
worrying
be
about?
fair,
Those
I've
other
never seen
raccoons
a
must be
raccoon in real
freezing.
life anyway.
I've never seen one in the wild. I have had a raccoon experience. Or I say I had when I bought one for my wife one year for a present. So we've been in like held raccoons and cuddled
Okay.
raccoons and stuff, and they're pretty fucking cool.
I may have seen one in some form of sanctuary wildlife park type thing. but yeah, I can't remember. I've certainly never seen one in the wild.
Yeah, they're pretty fucking cool.
I'm definitely not in a fucking jumper.
And that's the really weird thing about this, right? Is we've got the baggage. Like it's a Christmas memory for me. It's something I can remember being at Christmas. We used to love the show. We didn't since we watched it for this show, but as kids we liked the show, right? So we got that baggage. We can remember the characters, and just in general, like raccoons are like they're cool animals. You know what I mean? They're the kind of animals where it's like an instant like if something's got a raccoon in it, like I'm yours to lose.
Yeah.
Like because they're fucking cool because they're crazy little fuckers and they look like robbers.
Yeah,
and
so they look like burglars and with the little masks and everything. It's like, yeah, I can go on board with that.
Yeah, definitely. So, I'm yours to lose. And yet every time without fail that I try and cut this fucking franchise some slack,
yeah,
it just kicks me in the nuts. Like it's so poor. It's not even like it's bad enough that you can go, oh, that's fucking terrible. It's the worst thing I've ever seen. Because it's not, if we're honest. Like, yeah, the animation's dog shit and the story's rubbish, but and the music's not too bad, and it's all right. It's just fucking poor. It just smacks of lack of effort.
As I say, it's the same problem I have with the series. It's just so fucking vanilla.
Yes,
it
is.
Doesn't
isn't
elicit
it?
any response. Like, no, don't get me wrong. Like, no, we talked last time, and there's some fairly obvious comparisons. Like I said, there's the what kind of comparison with the Wombles. 10 years after this, you had Captain Planet, and the huge sort of beating you over the head with the environmental message. And then there've been so many things where we said, right, okay, like them or loathe them, they elicit a response. This, I sat down for 24 minutes yesterday, or 28 minutes with the ads. I sat through because it was more entertaining watching the ads than it was watching the fucking program. So I sat there for the best part of half an hour, and I came away going, eh.
But that's exactly it, innit? I watched it over a lunch break, a singular lunch break, and I was relatively up for it. I really was because I was like, oh, this is a one and done. So like the series we got increasingly annoying the more episodes we watched because it wasn't getting any better. But this is a one and done. It's Christmas themed. You all know, listeners, I'm a sucker for anything Christmas. So I'm like, okay, Christmas, raccoons, like, I mean, and I would stupidly, because obviously it was the first thing and it was like earlier than the show. Stupidly, I was really expecting it to actually be of a higher production value as well because it was a Christmas special. It's a one-off, like it's been produced as a special.
Yeah.
You'd expect it to have some money behind it.
Yeah, and I suppose the difference being that so when they did the series, it was backed by Disney on the back of this and the Lost Star.
Yeah.
So that's where the money came from. So that's why the series looks so much better because the production value on the series is actually very good. And I remember that's one of the things we commented on at the time is that some of the stuff we looked at doesn't look so good. It doesn't stand up so well. Whereas this being considerably older than a lot of stuff we'd looked at the time. Because, I mean, we did this fucking early as well. I think we did this in about 2018 or something like that.
Yeah, this was one of the first things we looked at because I was really keen to rewatch the Raccoons.
Yeah, I remember being the same. So, I mean, that's where the money, that's when the money came in was after the specials. So this was never going to be as good. But I was the same. I came at this thinking, right, yes, okay, the series was disappointing. I remembered why the series was disappointing. Didn't go back and listen until I'd watched this because I didn't want to prejudice this show. But I thought, right, okay, there's going to be something in here because this spawned 2 other specials, which then spawned spawned 5 seasons, which then spawned another special in the early 90s. So there's got to be something about this, right? There's got to be something that that somebody's gone, you know what? There's something in that. I don't know what it is, but there's something there that says this is a little bit special, and actually we can do something with it. And again, I came out of it disappointed because nothing happened. It didn't do anything.
No.
And I just sat there going, oh, is that it?
I would go as far as to say, thus far, it's kind of spoiled my Christmas a little bit. Like, because it's like this is the first Christmas special that I've watched this year, right? I'm quite late this year because it's quite a busy time. So normally by this point in December, I've done at least Nightmare Before Christmas and the Muppets. I've
not done either of those yet either.
Neither have I. I've probably done Nightmare multiple times by now. Might have done Charlie Brown Christmas by now as well, although normally that tends to be closer to Christmas Eve. But this was the first Christmas thing I watched, so I'm kind of like, even if it sucks, it might get me in the Christmas mood a little bit. It'll be not at all. No, absolutely not. The complete opposite effect.
The only saving grace I had was that this was the second Christmas thing I watched, because I watched the new Guardians of the Galaxy special
I'm
on Sunday
saving
night.
that for Christmas Eve. That's
I watched it.
Christmas Eve viewing for me.
It was going to be for me, and then I figured, actually, I've got two kids, and they're not going to let me watch that. They're going to want to watch something else.
Mm.
And I have a wife who's not interested in Marvel stuff, so she's not going to let me watch it either. She's going to make me watch Christmas stuff with the kids. So I thought I'll put it on. So I put it on Sunday night, and then that kind of got me through this, because at least that was entertaining.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, there are issues with that as well, and I'm not going to go into those because you haven't seen it, and also I don't want to. But at least that got me feeling a little bit festive. I haven't even, like, it's what, December the 13th today?
It's the 13th today.
And like by now, so I do NaNoWriMo in November. So November is me being holed up in this very little room, freezing my nuts off trying to write. That finishes on November 30th. December 1st, I break out the Christmas playlists, and I'm onto the Christmas TV and all the stuff I want to do in December. This year I've done jack shit. The first thing I've done was watch the Guardian special on Sunday, which was like the 10th or 11th, whatever it would be. No, well, whatever it would be. It's like,
It was the 11th on Sunday, I think.
Yeah. So like, that's the first Christmassy thing I've done, apart from buy a tree, be too ill to put it up, so lay it down on my living room floor and leave it there for 3 days until I could be asked to put it up. Like I said, I've literally done nothing this year. So then to be launching into this would have fucking killed Christmas.
Yeah, that's where I was, and like I've just been really busy. I've just got a lot going on, so I'm not, I'm a little bit behind with my Christmas stuff. Like I haven't wrapped any presents yet. Like the trees up.
That's what Christmas Eve is for.
No, I mean I'm normally done with this shit by now. I'm sitting back, kicking back, just waiting for Christmas, because I get super excited about it. So I do it really early. But I did put the tree and the decorations up early. I put them up the last week of November because I knew December was going to be busy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I snuck this in the lunch break, and I'm thinking, right, this is it. This will kick Christmas off one way or the other, even if it's a bit rubbish.
It's still Christmas.
Still a Christmas special. But it's really not, is it? It's
there's nothing Christmas about it apart from the fact they're fir trees.
And it's called the Christmas Raccoons.
Yeah. Like if you'd set it in fucking July, there's still fir trees, and it's still Canada. It's just fucking cold and snowing.
Then it would have just been the summer raccoons. Like, wouldn't have made any. It could have just as easily been the fucking Easter raccoons.
Yeah.
The fucking, I don't know, what other holidays are there? I can only think of two holidays. The Valentine's Day raccoons? No, that doesn't work. That sounds like a fucking crime film. That sounds like everybody's going to get massacred. I can't think of anything in the summer. There are fuck all good holidays in the summer. There are fuck all good holidays outside of Christmas anyway. Let's be honest. Easter's fucking rubbish, as has previously been covered on this network.
Only Halloween.
My birthday's all right, but that's my birthday and it belongs to me. Like it's not national. It should be a national holiday, but it's not. Halloween, yes, but Halloween isn't a holiday.
Not a holiday. It should be, but it's
not. Fucking right, it should be. Like then it would be the best holiday. But it's not. But yeah, it could have been the Halloween raccoons, just the same. Could have had some spooky shit going on. But no, they've decided to call it the Christmas Raccoons, and it has fuck all to do with Christmas. There's not even a Christmas carol.
No.
Not a single one. There's no Christmas message.
No. And the one thing I did, I said, no, that's the problem. It implied a Christmas message. It implied that Cyril Sneer actually grew a bit, and he grew a conscience, and he planted all the tree. But because it happens off screen, we don't spend enough time with him for him to earn it, and then because he hasn't earned it, it doesn't happen on screen. So all of a sudden, it's like, oh yeah, great, somebody planted some trees. I wonder who that could have been.
I mean,
and that's kind of it.
He's barely in the fucking thing, Cyril Sneer. He's in it for maybe 2 minutes.
Yeah, so there's not a lot to it. The one thing I don't remember looking at, and I thought about this afterwards, so I'm not quite sure. They put up stockings and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So do they have a fireplace in their tree? Because that's fucking dangerous. Also, do they put up Christmas trees inside the Christmas tree?
Well, this is the thing, and I couldn't work out because there's a shot very early on of them. They're very clearly indoors. Like
they're in the tree, aren't they?
Yeah, but what is the like? Is this tree like the fucking TARDIS? Like what is going on? It's like a proper
penthouse. So there was another question I had as well. Is that if they do have a tree within the tree, do they have lights?
Well,
and if so, how do they power them?
Yeah, they can't. That's because where all the other fucking animals are, Mark. They're in the basement of the tree, running around on little hamster wheels. Yeah,
but that's the question, because I think, well, if they're trying to sell this as Christmas and they're decorating their penthouse tree apartment, the signifier for that would be a tree. And the signifier for it being a Christmas tree would be having lights and tinsel shit on it. But then how do you light a tree within a tree with no electricity?
And also, where does Father Christmas go? Like, he can't come down the chimney.
Well, the thing is, and I have experience of this because when we lived in the flat, we didn't have a chimney. But Santa has what's called a Santa key, which can open any lock. And it's not scary as fuck. It's not that he can get into any property anywhere. It doesn't scare children, honestly.
Jesus Christ.
But that's the thing. It's a Santa key. And you can buy them, and they're just little fucking brass keys.
Really? This is a thing?
Because so many people don't have chimneys. So
could you not have just said he was going to come through the window?
I didn't fucking make it up. This has been a thing for donkey's years. I remember this from when we were kids, so we didn't have a chimney.
I mean,
we did, but it was blocked up. We didn't find out.
Yeah, same with us. Our chimney was blocked up as well, but I just always assumed that, like, I mean, he's Father Christmas. He finds a way.
Well, yeah, that's kind of it. But this became a thing. There's the Santa key in them. There are official Santa keys and licensed Santa keys and all this bollocks.
There's license. Who owns the fucking license to Santa Claus?
I have no idea. It's like Happy Birthday, and it's got to be fucking public domain. But there'll be somebody who sold a license somewhere where they've got a brand on them somewhere. So whether it's the particular drawing or the particular whatever however they've labeled it.
I think Coca-Cola actually own their Santa, don't they? Like that.
They own their Santa, yeah. So
yeah,
they don't
Santa
own their Santa,
is a trademark.
They own their Santa.
Yeah.
So I'd imagine it's something like that. But yeah, there are like licensed products, which fuck knows how that works.
Okay, so I'll give you that, right? He doesn't have to come down the chimney, but what the fuck good is a key gonna do him when it's a tree? Like what? I don't get it. I don't get how the fucking physics of this world works. Like, because if they had a tree house, fine.
Right.
But they just give us an establishing shot of the tree house.
Yeah, it's a house in a tree. It's not a tree.
Or even, if it's going to be inside the tree, Winnie the Pooh that shit and put little doors on the trees so we can see that you have to open the door and go inside the tree and it's all hollowed out.
Yeah, that would work.
There are ways around this, but no. Because they haven't thought about it for more than 30 seconds because nobody cares. Nobody gives a fuck. And that is evident in this fucking show. It is a cash grab. For all the fucking message they want to go about, oh, this is an environmental project and stuff like that. Yeah, maybe like somewhere on the surface. But ultimately what this is that's a fucking Christmas cartoon. We've got to sign some recording artists up. We'll sell some records.
Sell some records. We'll get some time on TV. It'll be good for me to get some TV time, especially at Christmas, because then I can get a series of something else. I can get a job somewhere else. I can go and work in TV. Happy days.
Yeah, and it's soulless, isn't it? That's the thing.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, and when you compare it to the other Christmas specials we've watched, and don't get me wrong, we haven't loved all of them. Like, as discussed 2 years ago, I fucking detest the Snowman. Absolutely hate it. But at least that feels like they cared. There's genuine love and care and attention gone into that, and it shows. It's not for me, and I don't like it, but it's got heart and soul, and you can sort of see why people do like it and why it's become this Christmas classic.
Yeah.
This, it's so flat,
to be honest.
It's just so soulless, which I think is more or less what we said about the show as well. But this really is just, it's dead inside. It's utterly dead inside. It's like looking into a fucking black void of nothing. It's horrible.
Yeah. Traditional Christmas fare, really, isn't it?
I did not enjoy this at all.
No, this hasn't been the kickstart to Christmas I was hoping for. I've got to be honest. I mean, you know me, I'm a miserable fucker anyway. I'm trying, and every year I try a little bit harder because the kids are a lot much older and trying to gain stuff. But I'm trying, and then for this to be the start of my Christmas, I was like, seriously, I don't get it. Incidentally, we took the kids to see the Snowman last year. And it was accompanied by, so it was on the big screen in St. David's Hall. The Welsh National Orchestra were playing along with it, and that actually worked out really well. So much so that when the fucking oboe kicked in, they blew all the speakers, and we had a 10-minute break while they reset the fucking breakers in the theatre. That was awesome because obviously you don't expect it for shit like that. But that was actually really good, and I've never been a huge fan of the Snowman either, but I actually really enjoyed that. So that was quite an interesting one.
Yeah, I mean that's a different thing then, isn't it? You're going to a concert then, you're not
It's a
just
performance then,
watching.
isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Yeah,
So that's why I would probably enjoy that as well because the best thing about the Snowman is the
it's
fucking
the score.
music.
Yeah,
So yeah, that would be fine. But the actual show, I dislike.
yeah.
But even that, like, I had a much better time with that than I did with this. Like, I've had.
The only saving grace was this that it was short.
I mean, it was really short, and because this is the Christmas special, so we've watched the Christmas special. I didn't have to watch another fucking 5 episodes of the
Yes.
Raccoons. It was 25 minutes and it was done.
Yeah.
Now there are more Raccoons Christmas specials. There are quite a few Raccoons Christmas
I
specials, in
think there are
fact,
four
or
specials
sort of.
in all. So
They're
you've
not
got
all Christmas ones though.
no. So you've got so that you had this one, which is the original, and you've got Raccoons on Ice the following year,
Hmm.
Raccoons and the Lost Star, and then a direct to video in 1984 called Raccoons Let's Dance. So they had four,
So I
yeah,
mean,
in total.
maybe in the future we'll give them another crack of the whip and look at another
You know
Raccoons
what?
Christmas
At this
special. But
stage, having done the series and done this, pass.
yeah,
Fucking hard pass.
I think you're right. I don't think I've got it in me to watch any more Raccoons ever again. I really don't.
I have no need to watch the Raccoons again.
No, I think I'm fucking done with it. Um, which really is a shame because I loved it as a kid. I really did. I remember really loving the Raccoons. Um, but fuck me, it's bad. And I'm sorry, listen. I'm sure there are those of you out there that really love the Raccoons. Whenever we dump on something, there's always somebody out there that's like, you just taking a shit on my childhood,
Yeah. You
and
know
we're
who you
really
are.
we're really sorry about that. But this is about our approach to these
Yeah,
things now. That's the whole
absolutely.
purpose, to look at these as adults and see if there's any value in them, and to look back through our rose tinted specs in a way as well and reevaluate things. And,
Yeah.
in the cold light of day, my opinion, your mileage may differ, but my opinion is this is a fucking abomination. Like
Yeah.
it's
This has no place marketing itself as a Christmas special.
no, it doesn't.
It
It's got
has,
no soul. It's
yeah,
got, and like I said, it's worse because I feel like if they just cared, like there probably is something there,
yeah.
but they just don't seem to care enough. So
No,
it's
that's it.
just, it's nothing. It's not good. It's not terrible. It's just very, very bad. It's just poor.
Yeah.
And that's the worst thing you can be. If you're gonna be bad, be really fucking bad.
Well, hence the point of Better Than Mario.
Well, exactly.
Lean into it. Be as absolutely fucking batshit crazy, mental, poorly executed as you can. Just go out there and swing for the fences.
I mean, like, yeah, like, you mentioned Better Than Mario there. For those of you that don't listen to the other show, listeners, this month for Christmas, we looked at Christmas with Cookie, which is ridiculously bad, but in all the best
Yeah,
ways.
but it
So they
knows
get
what it
away
is and
with
it
it.
embraces it.
Yeah.
Whereas this, as you said, nobody cares. So nobody's coming to this and going, right, this has got to be the best fucking Christmas special ever. This has got to be the thing that puts Canadian TV on the map. This is it. This is what we're doing. This is what we're going for. And ultimately, it just doesn't do anything.
No. Ultimately, no one gave a fuck about it. And that's the problem. I couldn't resist. I
No,
couldn't resist.
but you're right. There's for whatever reason it just falls so flat because if there's supposed to be a message, which as I said earlier, I'd like to think that they've gone in and gone, right, we're gonna make this stance that actually the rainforest is disappearing and nobody's actually noticed
Hang
because
on,
that's
hang on.
what's
It's not a
happening now.
rainforest, is it?
No, sorry,
Wait a minute.
whatever. So yeah, so we're going into the Evergreen Forest and it's disappearing. It's being chopped down and nobody's noticed to the tune of like 90% of it is gone before anybody realizes, oh, hang on, what's happened there?
Yeah.
And okay, if that was their message, that really doesn't come across. And if the whole thing is about capitalism and greed and all the rest of it, if that's your message, fine, but play on that. Use the sneers more. Use it to actually show these characters, show what they're doing, have them learn the error of their ways, a la the Grinch.
Hmm.
Have it mean something. Don't just go, oh, but you can make more money this way. All right, then that'll do. And then completely off screen, we learn that his company is now planting saplings rather than chopping them down. Okay, why? How did that happen? What for?
And
None of it. They haven't put the effort into any of it to carry it through.
and how does any of that relate to Christmas? Like, again, if his thing is he's cutting these trees down because he's selling them as Christmas trees,
Yeah,
right?
that's it. That's the easy out, right?
There's these, yeah. There's Christmas edge there, right? And then you can have a thing about actually he's price gouging so badly that
Yep.
nobody can afford a Christmas tree this year.
Yeah.
Even though he's chopped them all down. So now all of these Christmas trees
They
are
just
just
stacked
going
up
to
and
waste
yeah, they
because
just rotted.
nobody can afford to buy them. Right. And it's a waste. And so all the animals are homeless. Cyril's not getting any money. Nobody can afford a Christmas tree. Christmas is fucking ruined.
Yeah.
And then the true spirit of Christmas comes through, and then he works out that he can make his money by planting saplings. So actually, he doesn't need these trees anymore. So he can give them all away, and then
Yep.
everybody can have a Christmas tree, and they can all celebrate, and the raccoons will all have homes, and they can raid everybody's fucking Christmas Day garbage the next day, and everybody's fucking happy.
Yeah.
And more to the point, the thing that's really missing, if this is going to be a Christmas film, amongst all of that, there's your message, but where's the fucking magic?
Yeah.
There has to be some element of magic somewhere. We need a fucking talking snowman or Santa Claus
Some
or an
ghosts.
elf. Yeah, anything.
Yeah. Just something to give it a bit of heart, something to hang it on.
We need a Christmas miracle, for God's sake. And there just isn't one.
Yeah. Like there's a reason that this has been a trope for a while, the Christmas miracle. I mean, going back to that funny book that started it all about some baby or something. But this whole thing of Christmas miracles, you kind of need to sell it on.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the whole point. Um, I don't understand why there isn't, like, it's called the Christmas Raccoons. I don't understand how you miss the genre so
Yeah.
completely. Like, it's the
Even if they just
easiest
called it the
genre.
Raccoons,
Yeah,
the
then that's
Wilderness
fine.
Raccoons,
Call it the
the Evergreen
Raccoons and show
Forest.
it as Christmas. Or, these days, I mean, it was the 80s, so we weren't quite as sensitive
It
to
was
this things
barely
back
the
then.
80s as well.
Yeah, but call it the Holiday Raccoons.
Yeah.
Fine. Absolutely fine. Call it the Holiday Raccoons. Don't have it be about Christmas, because then you're excluding a large chunk of the population. Because, believe it or not, listeners, not everyone's a Christian and celebrates Christmas. Yeah, I mean, I celebrate Christian, and I'm celebrate Christmas. Sorry, and I'm not Christian either. So
Who's Christian?
yeah, somebody I celebrate apparently. But if you call it the Holiday Raccoons, then you've covered all bases. You don't expect a Christmas miracle. It doesn't have to be about a Christmas tree, because there's all of these other fucking holidays that happen at this time of year that we know nothing about.
Absolutely. I mean, I had an argument with somebody online the other day because they were talking about you can't say Christmas anymore. Why?
Oh,
Because
don't.
fucking happy holidays. Because there are fucking 24 holidays that fall in a 12-day period.
Don't. Those
That's
fucking
why.
people. Oh my God.
It's like no, it's like it might not be 24, but there are so many non-Christian holidays that fall in a period between December and January. You say happy holidays because people celebrate other things, funny enough. And
Yeah,
you want everybody to be included in all the rest of it. It's not being anti-Christian or anti-Christmas. It's just being respectful of the fact that not everyone's a cunt.
I mean, call it what it is. Next time somebody asks you that, just tell them it's because they're a hideous racist, and just be done with it. Because that's what they mean. They don't mean that they can't say Merry Christmas. They mean there are too many brown people around them. That's the truth of it. So just call them out on their bullshit, because I have no time for people like that. This is taking a dark turn. This is supposed to be a Christmas special.
Well, to be fair, so was Christmas Raccoons, and that didn't pan out.
Yeah, but Christmas Raccoons didn't dive into racism, at least, did it? So
well, yeah, if it'd gone another 10 minutes, I think it might have.
Maybe it might have. But that's the answer. Be inclusive about it. Call it the Holiday Raccoons. Tell a holiday story.
And then again,
that gets you your snow. It gets you your fucking
you've
message.
got your other animals as well. You've got your other inhabitants of the Evergreen Forest.
Yes, exactly.
Because then there are differences, and we can embrace those, and we can say, right, okay, actually, it's not just about Christmas. It's about Hanukkah
Whatever
and Kwanzaa
you
and whatever.
celebrate. And while we're at it, why do raccoons celebrate Christmas anyway? Surely they fucking wouldn't.
Well, maybe they celebrate the fact that bins are overflowing.
Maybe, but surely raccoons don't give a fuck about Jesus, do they?
Does anybody?
I mean, well, no. But do raccoons even know who Jesus was? Like, they're raccoons.
Well, no, because he lives in California and mows lawns, doesn't he?
Yeah, but what the fuck do they know, right? They might know Noah, because at least 2 of them got on the fucking ark.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
With
they're
all the
still
fish
here.
and the birds.
Yeah, because they're still here. But they don't know fuck all about Jesus. Jesus hung out with donkeys. Nowhere in the Bible do you get a nice picture of Jesus and his fucking clan of raccoons. That just wasn't a thing. So
again, if the disciples were raccoons and they were off nicking stuff, I'd be on board with that. Might actually give it a read.
I mean, that's much better than the actual Bible, isn't it? Let's be fair.
So is syphilis. Let's be fair.
Good point. But yeah, so it makes no sense. There's no
Although
explanation.
ironically, I can see one on the shelf behind me.
There's no explanation of why these animals even want to celebrate Christmas, why they would put Christmas tree.
None whatsoever.
They live in the middle of a forest. How do they even know what the fuck Christmas is?
Yeah, exactly. None of it makes any sense.
No, like if it was about solstice, I get that they might understand that, but Christmas, no, not unless they would like those fucking inner city raccoons where they're just like in and out of people's dustbins and they're observing humans. Yeah, but they're
They
not
find all
in a
that funky
city
paper and stuff.
Yeah, they're not inner city raccoons. They're fucking
They're
forest
in the middle
raccoons.
of the Evergreen Forest.
So what the fuck? I honestly, the more we talk about this show, the more faults I'm going to find with it.
Yeah,
so I think it's best that we just accept that it's a pile of dog shit.
Yeah.
And move on.
It's the lump of coal you were threatened with as a kid.
It really is. It really is.
As Christmas specials go, that's what it is. It's a lump of coal in your stocking.
Yeah, it's fucking terrible. Like I would rather watch like the bad fucking Netflix Christmas specials and shit like that.
Oh, and there are some fucking horrendous ones on there.
But at least they're Christmas themed.
Yeah.
Like this is Christmas in nothing but title.
I'll go you one better. I would actually rather watch some of the, I can't remember what channel it is on Freeview, but there's a Christmas movie channel that comes out every year.
Oh yeah, it's full of Hallmark shit. Yeah.
I would rather sit and watch that for 24 hours than watch this for 24 minutes.
Yeah, definitely. At least that's all Christmas themed. At least it makes sense. At least it follows the tropes. I mean, yeah, there's that as well. So yeah, I'd watch anything other than this fucking pile of shit. I mean, as always, listeners, like, let us know what is it about the raccoons, because this thing has endured. Like, I still see raccoons merchandise and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there was talk of reviving it in about 2017, but it kind of died a death.
Like, so what are we missing?
I don't know. I don't get it. I really don't. But somebody must.
Yeah. Fuck knows. I mean, maybe it's a Canadian thing.
Don't get all the fusses about.
I mean, I teed you up for that. You took your time, but I teed you.
That's the lag. That's the lag on the Skype. It's fuck all to do with me. Honest.
Maybe it's a Canadian thing. I don't know. Like
possibly.
Maybe they like Christmas raccoons and fucking I don't know mooses and mises and timbits. Like do
they fuck the mooses and mises? I certainly wouldn't want to fucking a timbit.
I don't think aren't mooses giant? Like I don't know how you'd even mount a moose.
Well, you chop its head off and stick it on the wall.
Well, okay. Yeah, I walked into that. You know what I meant.
I think they're kind of smaller. They're kind of like cow size, aren't they?
I thought they were more like horse size.
No, they're smaller than horses, aren't they? I think so. You're into elk and stuff like that, then.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of elks.
Because they're all kind of the same thing, anyway, aren't they?
No, aren't elks?
I don't fucking know. I'm never going to Canada anyway, so you know.
Right, hang on.
Canada won't happen after this.
A horse. This is important stuff, listeners. We're all going to learn.
Inquiring minds need to know.
Okay, we're all going to learn something. What's bigger, a horse or a moose? The average moose is taller and heavier than the average horse.
Fuck off.
The rare outlier horses, the tallest and biggest horses, can come close in some respects, though. A moose weighs between 600 and 1,500 pounds, and the average horse weighs between 600 and 1,200 pounds.
Oh, okay then.
So mooses are bigger than horses. There you go.
Mooses are bigger than horses. Well, we learned something new.
There you go.
Something good came out of this fucking show.
Right? You can all sleep easy tonight now. Yeah? You know that mooses are bigger than horses. How the fuck we got onto that?
I have absolutely no idea.
Nor do I. But
I think we were probably ripping up, weren't we?
Mounting mooses. You'd need a fucking step ladder or something. And unless you were very tall, which you are. So maybe you could fuck a moose. Why did we start talking about fucking mooses?
I can't remember.
Anyway, listeners, Merry Christmas. Yeah, I haven't got any more to say about this. I really, really wanted it to at least be okay, and
I wanted it
been okay. Yeah, I think actually I would have heaped a bit more praise on it than it was deserving of, simply because we dumped on the show so much. But I just can't because it's dog shit. It's I never ever want to see this abomination again. Really,
no, I'm right there with you. I mean, I came into this wanting it to be better, wanting there to be something about it that spawned 3 other specials and 5 seasons, and I came away cold again.
Mm-hmm.
Although that may just be because it's like minus 55 degrees here at the moment.
Yeah, it feels like Canada here at the moment.
It does. I actually read something. It feels colder here than it does feel in Canada because we're not used to it. So the wind chill is actually making it feel like actually, Arctic.
Yeah, I mean, we're pussies, let's be honest.
This is true. Yeah.
Plus, Canadians are always drunk, so they're warm and they don't feel it. Hate to
That's
stereotype.
true.
Hope we have no Canadian listeners because we've probably offended the fuck out of you tonight.
Well, to be fair, it's been coming for what we're like 6 years into the show now. It's probably due.
I don't think we've had any complaints from Canada yet. So
Yeah, challenge accepted.
Yeah,
that's one for the new year.
Canadians are too nice. They're not going to complain. Don't worry about it. Yeah, so I do have nothing else to say. Like, this is fucking garbage. If you think we're wrong, as always, let us know, because I really do feel like I must be missing something, because otherwise this show wouldn't endure. It's either that or nobody's ever bothered going back and rewatching this. They just
maybe, or they were all
remember
just
it
too
as it
nice to
was.
tell anybody it was shit.
Maybe
That's it. Yeah, as always, let us know, because we clearly have missed the point on this one. But get in touch on Twitter at SMPDpod. You can go to our website, ddpodcast.net, where you can also get our previous episodes and other shows as well. Wherever you get your podcast from, subscribe, leave a message, we back to you as best we can. Until next time.
We're sorry we've been so down on this, listeners, for a Christmas special. We wanted to be more jolly, but, them's the breaks. We'll play the ball where it lands. But nevertheless, we hope you've enjoyed. Thank you for spending all of your time with us this year. And we hope you have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, a safe and prosperous New Year, and we will see you in January.